Hi Gemini, this is your October 2015 horoscope with me, Lada from astrolada.com. For everyone who has their ascendant or sun in Gemini, make sure you check both prognosis. You know, the ascendant and the sun, they get equal points of impact in the horoscope. And we're shooting from the mystical Canary Islands of the coast of Africa, which there is a legend, the locals say, that it was part of Atlantis, a continent that sank. And you can see it's huge. There is a mountain, it's a tiny island with a 4 kilometer tall mountain in the middle of it. It's a volcano. It's definitely magical here. And let's see what October brings you. Let's start first with the more general prediction actually for a year and a half ahead, because there is a shift in energy. The nodes of the moon, the north and south nodes of the moon, which we also call Rahu and Ketu, the dragon's head and the dragon's tail. The north node is the dragon's head, the south node is the dragon's tail. It's very, very kind of vividly described by those two, by this animal, mythical animal, in two parts of it. They're changing signs, and they'll stay, Gemini, Rahu and Ketu, they're always opposite each other in signs and houses. And over the next year and a half, starting from October, Rahu, the dragon's head, will be in your fourth house. And wherever Rahu, the dragon's head, transits, we become more excited about that area of life. We want to manifest materially. We become more ambitious there, more driven. We want worldly recognition there. We want to make things happen. It gives us like a little motor that moves us, you know, exploring, trying new things, even being a bit reckless and a bit going against the normal, a little bit rebellious, because Rahu is this rebellious energy, because it's a demon planet. It's the dragon's head. The dragon's head is ravenous. It wants to eat and take and take and, you know, swallow everything on its path, you know. And whatever Rahu is, it's in your fourth house. Let's see what you're going to be swallowing a lot of, or where you're going to get ravenous about, or where you can manifest on the material level over the next year and a half. Fourth house is, first of all, your home and base, place of living, the place that you call home. And when Rahu transits there, for example, you might decide to expand. And Jupiter is also there. Rahu, Jupiter both bring expansion. Jupiter brings the knowledge and the inspiration how to do it and the understanding how to do it. Jupiter is divine knowledge, you know, and divine inspiration. And brings opportunities, and Rahu brings the material means of how to happen and the ambition inside. It eats you up, kind of obsessive energy a little bit, and the progressive energy, because Uranus is very Rahu is very progressive. It wants to try the unusual, you know, like if everyone is telling you, no, don't buy property now, it's, you know, it's not a good time, but the prices are not good, and you say, damn you all, I'm gonna go and buy it, you know. And that's kind of the rebellious energy of Rahu, and it's gonna manifest either in some way expanding, you getting property, you benefiting in some way from property, you expanding your base from which you're, you know, the base from which you're starting, which is the fourth house. It might bring expansion of family as well, maybe a new member to the family, or maybe if you're still too young, new flatmates who might be even a foreign influence or very different influence and character, which might be a bit rebellious or different than you. But definitely there's some kind of expansion, change, and more manifestation in the material world in regards to home, family, you know, people that you live with as well. And it's also fourth house rules your emotional needs. So Rahu there makes you a little bit think that your emotional needs are more connected to material things. So you might feel like a deep need to achieve certain material. Fourth house on the material level is fortune, to drive you to really create a stable foundation for fortune. And thankfully, Uranus and Rahu there in your fourth house can help you manifest this over the next year and a half. And it helps you also understand develop your more emotional stability in you. But initially you become emotionally reckless, because this is Rahu's energy. And by the end of the process, a year and a half after that, you'd have learned how to control some of your emotions, how to be more in control of your own needs. And not that your feelings run you, but that you control those feelings. And again, as I said, you have the green light for investment in properties and such things, in vehicles as well, and to and to benefit from such things, relocations, buying properties, restoring, or something like that. Okay, and enlarging your family with new members. Okay, what else? You can, Ketu is always in the opposite house. So Ketu is in your house of career, Gemini, and it will stay there for a year and a half again. Whatever Ketu is, we have to accept things there. We can't much make progress or manifest on the material level. And you still can manifest when it comes to your career over the next year and a half, but you have to approach it with a different set of mind. Instead of trying to make it happen at any price, like really wanting to make it happen the way you envision, you have to allow things to happen on their own. You have to let go and let God. I'll give you an example what this means, because Ketu is this detached energy. Ketu is where the divine will is more powerful than ours, and if we try to control things whenever it's transiting through, things are not going to work out exactly like we expected, and just creates aggravation and frustration in us. But if we approach from the moment Ketu starts transiting our 10th house for a year and a half, more of an attitude, and you will, if you don't have it now, by the end of this process, you develop an attitude of acceptance. Damn it, whatever it is, I'm going with it. I'm going with the flow. I'm letting go and letting God. The universe, once you stop this resistance of trying to make things happen exactly as you want and trying to fight for them all the time, the universe, when you kind of almost like let go or accept things as they are, the universe allows new opportunities, and you unblock a big blockage. You allow God to take over, and God's plans are always much better. So there, it's a little bit things are out of your control. And let me give you an example. When my husband had this for a year and a half, Ketu transiting his 10th house, he really, he got promised from work to get promoted. He was talking with his boss all the time. I want a new promotion. I want a better title. Even if you don't put my salary up, because 10th house is not about money. 10th house is about recognition. It's about the social status, the position you have in your career, like maybe getting a promotion or something. And he was trying and working very hard for that. And the bosses basically lied to him, told him it would happen, but it didn't happen, and he just gave up and he said, whatever, I tried for a year so hard. He gave up, and then he got an offer from another place, and it spiraled his career onwards. But only after he gave up, and it kind of with disappointment, and he was like almost exhausted and said, okay, whatever it is will be. I'm just doing my job the best I can. And this is when they got unleashed a new plan. And he released the blockage of him trying to make it through the way he thinks should happen, So I hope you are able to get the idea how Ketu works. While with Rahu, you can manifest yourself. Rahu is in your 4th house when it comes to your family, to your personal life. You can have, you can try and manifest more on the material level there. You can develop new ways, new progressive ways of how to, whether it's with your home, with your family in some way. Anyway, let's see what else is happening. But that's for a month, for a year and a half. Let's see what's happening, especially in October for you, Gemini. Well, actually, again, your 4th house is very strongly triggered. You have Mars and Jupiter there, and Venus is joining. So there is a strong focus on your emotional needs, on how you're feeling. You might feel a little bit more emotional, but also expansive emotionally. Because Mars and Jupiter are also joining together in October, around the middle, the whole October might be a month where wherever Mars is, this is where your willpower is. And Jupiter expands whatever it touches. So it expands your willpower in regards to personal life, home, family. So you might make some changes, or you might do something on your home, like fixing, renovating, changing something around your family, around your environment, around those people that you close nearest and dearest, like you consider like your own family. So there is more activity which is personal, which is more hidden. It's not so much worldly. It's not so much out there, but you're basically making your foundation, your castle, as they say. You're making it more stable, your psychological foundation. You're working on that in October, and when all those planets climb up to your 10th house, you're going to see results of that. But anyway, so that's a strong focus for you. And there might be certain expansion of arguments with parents or with people that you live with or people in your personal life. There might be some stress that puts a little bit of stress also on your career and public life, but it's temporary and it gets resolved, quickly. But if such moments appear that you're stressed in that area of your life, in your personal life, just remember there's just like too much expansive energy and restless energy of Mars there as well. But it's a good time for fixing home, as I said, for buying property as well, for initiating projects in your personal life, for initiating changes in your personal life with family or place of living or such matters. Okay, and there is another focus for you, Gemini. The Sun and Mercury are in your 5th house, and they trigger it strongly. 5th house is the house of creativity. So you might be arranging certain things because especially you started even from September when Mercury went retrograde in your 5th house, and you can watch your video for September 2015 to hear exactly what it means to have Mercury retrograde in the 5th house. Is it the 5th house? Yes, it's the 5th house. And it means that in September and October, and in October you start seeing the results. You're putting some efforts, arranging, doing something, planning something which might be in regard to your business, because 5th house rules people who have their own business, like if they're self-employed, but not if they work for someone else, or if you have some creative projects, some hobbies, something that brings you amusement, something that you're passionate about, something that you find very exciting, so you might be arranging certain matters in respect to that, maybe arranging some creative new projects, arranging something on a new website or something to do with your business, or maybe revisiting some old hobbies or trying to learn a new hobby or a new skill which brings you enjoyment, which you're passionate about, not something that you have to do, but something that spurs your heart, makes you excited. And by October, you're concluding those things. You're starting to see the results of those. 5th house is also to do with children. You might be very busy with your children, having to arrange, plan with them. Maybe your children might be having this, having to pay them more attention, plan, arrange something with them, manage something with them in some way. 5th house also rules people that we're in love with, lovers. It's not necessarily a partner if you're married, but someone that you might be in love with. There is a focus there. There might be some important conversations that are happening in September and part of October. And from about the middle of October, they start resolving. You've reached some conclusion, you've reached some agreement with someone who is a lover, or a child, both are ruled there. So interesting that the 5th house is both those things. These people, but you reach some agreement and the relationship might be at a different level by the middle of October already. So that's, and I want to give you some specific days. Saturn is already making an opposition to your sign. And who's going to feel it? Those Geminis that are born in the first 5 degrees. It means the May-born Geminis. Let me see. Not all May-born Geminis, but those from the 22nd of May to around the 27th, 28th of May. 22nd to around the 28th of May, Geminis, you're going to have Saturn transit opposite your Sun. Or if it's your ascendant there, you're going to have Saturn transit in your 7th house. And it means that pressure is building up and escalating, which comes to you from others. It might be from bosses, from partners. They're demanding something from you. They're putting pressure on you. And there might be some dissatisfaction. If you're in relationships which are unhappy, they can, actually get even worse right now. You can become much more aware of what's not working well in your relationship. Even if you're in a happy relationship, there will be a process is starting, which will, which probably even started from the beginning of the year, because Saturn is transiting for the last time over those degrees. So now in October, September, the early-born Geminis, or those with ascendant in the first 5 degrees or moon in the first 5 degrees, there is the last time something culminates in regards to relationship with others, and having to work very hard, having to put a lot of effort, being quite dissatisfied, things being slowed down, But if you've worked hard in the past 1 year, things will finally start getting unblocked after October, and you finally start seeing the results of this hard work. There'll be like a culmination, and when this hard transit finishes, if you've done a good job, Saturn can reward you, but only accordingly to your efforts. And it's been a tough year for Gemini, the early born Gemini. It's been a tough 10, 11 months, 12 even, and it's the last time. So don't worry, just buckle up and see the results. And after that, you are left alone. So thank you very much, Gemini. Subscribe to my channel, and you can contact me at astrolada.com to speak with me or one of the other wonderful astrologers who are there, or to check your personal transit from the birth chart calculator. Thank you.